Hello lovebirds, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, since we're hitting December, I am planning to do another unconventional makeup. Because why not? We can all use a little bit of glamour in our lives. Now, today's video is going to be all about glitter, sparkle, the December shine of it all, but in an unconventional way. So I'm planning to do glitter without the hassle of having to use glitter. If you catch my drift. So, let me explain to you what we are doing today. Now, there is this stuff called T-shirt transfer paper, which is amazing. It's kind of a fabric-y material with a harder plastic layer on top. Now, this stuff is created to be able to create prints for on T-shirts, for example, so these two layers can separate apart. And this is actually amazing stuff to use as a makeup look. So now, let me walk you through a few of the looks that I've already done. Now, I've got this box filled to the brim with all different colors of this paper. So I've got blues, I've got reds, I've got everything you can imagine. Now, for a shoot a couple of years ago, I've already created a few designs of this. So let me show you a couple. So a couple of these designs were actually used in a shoot with a Dutch designer called Faux, and I actually created little flower stems that could really stick the skin really nicely. Then I already got a very large flower design that I wanted to use, really going up and down the face, but it was actually a little bit too large to really use. So we had to use it on the body, for example, and that photo didn't really make it in the end. And then you can also simplify everything and go for a really amazing eye look, like this one, for example. This is actually one of my favorites, which gives you kind of a, I don't know, a little bit of a superhero kind of feel. I've also got a really simplistic one in black that I really loved. Obviously, they don't stick, but you see what I mean. It's a very simplistic design that I really love to use on a shoot. And then I've got a few more flowers that I used for an editorial. You see, you can make such extensive designs with this paper and so thinly, finely created that it is, one, very quick and easy to use on set, and two, it's so much fun to play around with all the different kind of shapes that you can get with this. So I wanted to use this one with the little lashes on the bottom. And for today, I've obviously also created a little design. So I've got this little eyeliner, and I'll definitely admit it was inspired by the Pat McGrath eyeliner, in which he did this really lovely Egyptian-inspired eyeliner. We all know that one because she uses it in her PR material a lot. And this was definitely inspired by that in terms of shape, but the material is definitely different. So to get prepped and ready, and so that I can show you everything there is to know about this stuff, I'm first going to glue down my brows. Now, if you want to know how to do that, I will refer you to my previous tutorial, especially on this topic. But how do you really use this? Typically, I will choose a design, I will trace it in Photoshop, I'll put this in the printer and print it out so that then I can cut it out with a little scalpel thingy. What do you call this in English? Or you can freehand a design with a really nice and fine marker and trace it on the back of this paper. Then you can cut it out as well, and then you can literally lift it off with a tweezer. Alright, now that my brows are glued down, I'm going to cover them straight away and lay down my base layer. I'm going to use the I Am Magic foundation by Juvia's Place for this because it's the most covering foundation I've found so far. And I actually think it works better than the Kryolan TV paint stick. Now, since my brows need most coverage of all, I'm going to concentrate the product right on there and then blend everything out from the brows out. I've also got it in a lighter shade, the number 710. So I've mixed that into the 650 that I've previously used, and I'm going to highlight certain areas just to make sure that we still keep a little bit of shape in the face. Well, there's absolutely no life left in my face. That is one of the downsides from using blocked out brows, is that you really have to go in with your products and then fix it later on, because otherwise the texture is just going to mess everything up. Now, as this foundation is covering enough to actually be called a concealer, I don't really have to go in with another concealer. I'll just use my different shades to shape the face. Now, since we've used a cream product on top of a layer of water dissolvable glue, I'm going to set it straight away with a little bit of powder just to make sure that everything sets into place. So I'm using a little powder puff, I'm using a powder puff to make sure that I can really apply a little bit of pressure onto all of those areas, because if it doesn't stay in place, you're kind of screwed throughout the entire night or evening or afternoon, whatever it is you're going to do. Now, I know it definitely isn't the amount of product that you're used to, especially from me, but it is a, occupational hazard if you're going to block out your brows. So glam it is. So since I feel like I'm baking my entire face, and since I've done so much to block out every shape in my face, I have to kind of go in with a shaping powder, with a contour powder, just to make sure that all of my natural curves are still visible. So I'm going in with the KVD Vegan Beauty in the Kitten Mini Shade and Light Contour Duo. I'm guessing I really need to order a few new contour products, especially in the powder versions, because I don't really have that many. And I've been looking at the Kevin O'Con one, which looks absolutely fantastic, especially if you're looking at the shades. They've got this really beautiful ashy tone for pale skin, so that is something that I've definitely got my eye on. Well, that's starting to look like it actually belongs to the rest of my body. Now, we definitely need to spend a little bit of attention on the nasal area, because that's looking like a blotch in the middle of the face. So I'm going to use a flat shader brush by MAC just to get a little bit more definition going. So I suggest I'll zoom you in and we'll start with the creative part of this whole tutorial. A little late, but well. For this part, it is very important that you get the certain applies that you really need to get this done. So that would be the transfer paper, in whichever way, shape or form you want it, and then create your design. So this is my design right here, and I'm planning to use them alternately. So what do you need for that? Tweezers and lash glue. I'm using this one by Queen Tarzi because it has a really nice applicator. So it will make it very, very easy for me to paint the underside of this glitter paper and stick it onto the skin really gently. So let's start off with the inner corner piece, and we need to be able to really place that well, because if this first part isn't nicely, gently placed, then the rest of the makeup won't work out. So now the reason I glued down my brows is because I figured this shape is quite big, so it'll probably go over my brows. Now obviously you can do this as grand or as tiny as you want. There we go. First piece done. But do you see how beautiful that effect is? And it will definitely get rid of any of the leftover texture in the brows, because there will always be a little bit of leftover texture. Unless you cover it with glitter, obviously. Okay, I have something to admit. Even in my case, nothing goes right all the time. So I placed all of my applications up way too high, which caused me to rip them off. Then I had to fix the brow area again. So I took everything off, redid everything, and then applied the applications in the right area. So I'm finally ready to get going with the second eye. So one of the things that I have learned, see, I cut this little part from the plastic from a previous one so that I could really kind of measure out where everything was supposed to go. So if I put this on my eye area, I can see it isn't supposed to start up there. it's supposed to start way down here. So I'm going to walk you through how I applied these things. So what I do is I kind of take off one of the edges of that design, get a hold on it, and then you can gently rip it off. Then I hold it somewhere in the center and I apply my lash glue accordingly, because it's much easier to stick it on if you hold it somewhere in the middle, because it is a very flexible product. You don't want to get it to wobble all over the place. What I do then is kind of measure out where I want it to go. And then when I'm sure about that spot, I stick it on, press it in. And then I'm just going to follow along the crease line because I don't want it to bother me whenever I'm blinking my eyes. So I'm going to follow it above the crease line just to make sure that it's very comfortable throughout the night. Let me tell you, I was this close to just stopping this video, stop recording, and just announce that I didn't have a video for this week. But on the other hand, I thought it was such a nice concept and such a good way to celebrate the holidays that I figured, let's just persevere. Now, I like to take hold of a magnifying mirror just so that I'm absolutely certain about the placement of it all and I won't make the same mistake twice. On the one hand, this is quite a time-consuming makeup to do, but then on the other hand, it's so easy to remove at the end of the night. It's quite worth it. Now, one of the reasons I really wanted to create this tutorial is because it seems like everyone is completely obsessing over rhinestones. And although I absolutely love rhinestones, and I'll probably do a tutorial about rhinestones after this one, I thought it could be a great idea to suggest some other material, because it's not just rhinestones that are a non-makeup material that you can work with. It's so many different options. If you look at a crafting store, every single thing in there is able to be used as makeup. And finally, onto the final one. Now, this actually wasn't supposed to go in there, but when I had it on like this, I felt like I needed one more to kind of finish off the shape. So that is this one. There you go. I think this is one of my most exciting looks. All right, now that we've got our embellishments settled in place, it's time to do something about these lashes because this is looking BALD, bold. So let's go in with a little bit of eyeliner. Now, because I don't have time for any other mistakes, I'm going in with my trusty old Surratt auto-grapique eyeliner in Chat Noir. And I'm just going to use this to do a thin little liner, hopefully. Now, I don't want to do much with my eyeliner. I just want to make sure that my lash line is nice and visible. And I want to kind of correct the down slanted eye shape. So I'm going in with a little bit of a thicker line on the outer corners while keeping it thin on the inner corners. Okay, I feel like the lucky gods are on my side again. Now, to get even more emphasis on that top lash line, I'm going in with the Delilah retractable eye pencil because it's the one pencil that doesn't stamp onto the bottom part of it. So I'm going to line my top waterline with that. Now, to keep the risk of anything else going wrong, I'm just going to stick to all of my favorites. So I'm going in with the YSL, the Shock Mascara. You can know my favorites. Time for lipstick. Now, because everything is so radiant and ethereal, I really want to have a neutral, beautiful nude gloss lip with this. So I'm going to grab something that I think will be useful. All right, scratch that. I'm going for a black lip because one, people have been requesting it for some odd reason, and second, I'm not actually going anywhere at the moment, so I figured why not finish off with a rock and roll black lipstick. So I've got this beauty by Gucci Beauty, and it is one stunning black lipstick. So first, I'm going in with a waterproof black eye pencil to line my lips so that we can get that longevity in there. So I've got this stunning beauty by YSL Beauty, which is the Dessin du Regard waterproof in number 1. If I'm correct, I can't read the number anymore because it's gone. I've used it that much, but I'm going to use this to line my lips. Let's come a little bit closer. I forgot how creamy this was. Oh, this is going to look like one of those mustaches from the Addams Family. It's going to be great. Lipstick is definitely required for this. Now, Gucci, you did good. This is a pigmented black lipstick. Way to go. Alright, I'm going to grab onto a lip pencil just to make sure that everything is in the right place, exactly where it's supposed to be. And I see a lot of kind of shape issues that I want to fix before we finish this makeup. Now, to fix what still isn't as crisp as I would want it to be, I'm grabbing onto my I Am Magic foundation by Juvia's Place, the one in 610 CEBU, and I'm going to use that to clean up any of the outer perimeters of that lip and make sure that all of the lines are crisp as can be. Just slightly detail-oriented. I can go overboard a little bit sometimes, but with a black lip you kind of have to. Well, there you go. Black lipstick. Alright, the one thing that I'm definitely missing in this whole face is a little bit of highlighter. So I'm going to grab my Dior palette and I'm going to add a really nice light highlighter. There we go. And whilst we're at it, I'm also going to apply a little bit to the chest area. There. I mean, at this point, there's no such thing as too much, right? Well, there you have it, loves. The end of the tutorial, the end of this look, the finished result. Now, I must admit, this was probably one of my most turbulent tutorial shootings I have done so far. But on the other hand, I really love the end result. So I really hope to see some recreations here and there. If you are planning on doing so, I might have a nice goodie for that person. I really hope you've liked this video. If you did like it, then please consider to subscribe to this channel. And I would love to see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.